Hey, can you find a water bottle for me?
Something so simple.
Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Monday, January 22nd. Well, the Republican leadership of the Senate and the Democratic Party got together and came up with at least a short-term compromise to reopen the federal government. They easily voted in the filibuster shortly after noon Washington time today. This doesn't solve everything by any means. However, there is a 6-year extension of the child health insurance program. That's a good thing. No fix yet for Puerto Rico's great needs, and they put off, for the time being, the immigration issue, which was a stumbling block to start with. The government will operate on a continuing resolution until February 8th. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, has promised Democrats that there'll be a legitimate debate and real vote, including on Democratic amendments, when they finally get to immigration. You have to be pessimistic about the outcome, however. Donald Trump doesn't want to give anything on immigration. The House has a very punitive immigration plan on its side. And of course, there are people like Senator Tom Cotton who wants to punish immigrants as well. It's hard to imagine there being an outcome that will get us acceptable immigration compromise for Democrats, but we'll see. They'll at least have some high ground if they're once again given a raw deal by the Republicans on immigration. And you may remember that McConnell promised his members of his own party a vote on this last year that he never delivered. Perhaps they'll get some high ground. I think on balance, Trump was viewed as the cause of this breakdown in the first place, and I think that's probably accurate. Well, the most other significant political activity of the weekend was the one-year anniversary of the Women's March on Washington and other cities that followed Donald Trump's election. The crowds were again huge, including in Little Rock. They coincide with marches for reproductive freedom, but it's about more than that. It's about the resistance. It's about women getting energized. It's about them running for office. I think that is the most hopeful sign for the 2018 election. We'll wait and see if that enthusiasm carries over into elections in November. Other news over the weekend, the Washington Post put together a fascinating story on the number of Russians that have now been tied into the Trump campaign, and many of whom are under investigation in the special counsel's investigation of ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. One key person under investigation is a Russian operative who passed a document to U.S. Representative French Hill of Arkansas that pertained to potential dirt on Hillary Clinton to help the Trump campaign. He hasn't had much to say about this. They said it didn't amount to much. Well, it's amounted to something to the woman who's under investigation. And speaking of the Arkansas congressional delegation, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton went on Meet the Press Sunday and told at least the third version of his story of what happened in the room in which he was present when Donald Trump said awful things about immigrant nations. He used curse words to describe Haiti, African, Central American countries. Tom Cotton, you may remember, first didn't remember anything being said. Then he absolutely denied that Donald Trump had said anything bad and said Dick Durbin was a liar. Well, on Meet the Press yesterday, he pretty well conceded that ugly words were used. He just said they weren't used repeatedly, as some people had said. Excuse me. That's not much of a story. Tom Cotton's stock with national commentators has really plummeted over all this. The word lie has been used repeatedly to talk about him, and not only by people from the Democratic side of the aisle. If you got time, go back to arkansasblog.com and see something we posted over the weekend. We obtained through FOI requests the details on the pay deals for the new raft of assistant football coaches at Fayetteville that had to be hired after they swept out the old regime of Brett Bielema. There's $4.6 million worth of assistant football contracts, and with the $3.5 million paid head coach Chad Marsh, you're talking $8 million in football coach pay. And that's only in pay. That doesn't count health insurance, disability insurance, retirement contributions, cars, game tickets, and a host of other benefits that come with being a football coach. Somebody noted that the strength coach, that is the guy who helps coach people on lifting weight in the weight room, is paid $80,000 a year more than a U.S. federal judge in Arkansas. Good work if you can get it. This note from the Northland, the USS Little Rock sent off on her maiden voyage December 24th from Buffalo, didn't make it very far. The ice moved in quickly on the St. Lawrence Seaway. The USS Little Rock is marooned in Montreal, trapped by ice, may not be free until spring. The Navy says not to worry, everything will be fine with their new ship named in honor of Little Rock's capital city. And finally, this note on the election season from the Republican gubernatorial primary where Jan Morgan, the gun range owner in Hot Springs, makes an awful lot of noise. Latest from Falk, Arkansas. She spoke Friday night, got a big hug from a man dressed as the Falk Monster. She revealed in a speech there that the FBI has told her that she is on ISIS hit list. Yes, a candidate for Republican governor of Arkansas is said to be on ISIS's hit list. She didn't elaborate on why she presents such a peril to people in the Middle East, but there you are. It's going to be quite an election season this year. I'm Max Brantley. After watching the marchers Saturday, you can bet I'm still resisting. I'll be back tomorrow.